Wall Street is going through a wild session today. The economic calendar is jam-packed with the economic data, but the US CPI is the focal point. Investors are revising their portfolios in tune to the red-hot inflation data, making decisions in favor of safe haven assets. InstaForex analysts predict that global investors will regain the risk-off mood. The Dow Jones closed yesterday with the strongest intraday gain. The index climbed 528 points or 1.58%. The Nasdaq rose 1.26% intraday as a result of a 6% slump in Tesla shares. The S&P500 nearly missed the landmark 4,000 level and closed 1.45% up at 3,990 points. The benchmark stock indexes extended their gains in the New York pre-market. Futures of the stock indexes traded higher in anticipation of the US CPI report. The intraday corridor for the S&P is seen between 4,080 and 4,210 points. Opening with a cautious optimism on Monday, Wall Street regained confidence in the light of corporate news. On a Monday, the market got to know a batch of news on a merger and acquisition deals to a total worth of $70 billion. Microsoft shares jumped 2.89% after the high-tech giant purchased a 4% stake in the London Stock Exchange. This move pushed up each of the three major stock indexes. Biotechnology company Horizon Therapeutics plc spiked 15.49% after Amgen Incorporated offered a purchase deal. Coupa Software shares leapt 26.67% after the private equity firm Thoma Bravo agreed to buy the company. Pfizer's shares grew 0.85% after the drug manufacturer unveiled its revenue from vaccine sales. Such upbeat news set the stage for the biggest 1% intraday rally for each of the benchmark indexes since November 13. Each of the 11 sectors tracked in the S&P closed in the green. Today, all corporate news is taking a back seat as investors are focused on the only event, the US inflation data. After the US CPI's publication, Wall Street got its second wind. The annual rate of the US consumer inflation slowed down in November for 5 months in a row to 7.1%. It's the lowest reading since December 2021 and below the consensus of 7.3%. The CPI logged a 0.1% uptick from a month ago, the smallest score in the 3 months, and also below the expected decline to 0.3%. In the light of the news, the S&P could gain another 2.5%. Taking into account the previous growth after positive inflation news, the index might surge even higher. This year, the market is especially sensitive to inflation data because the Federal Reserve is carrying on its crusade against soaring inflation, which forced the regulator to embark on the most aggressive monetary tightening since the 1980s. The second portion of the softer-than-expected CPI is like a balm to unnerved stock investors. The data is a widely argument for those who affirm that inflation has reached its peak. The highlight of the day tomorrow will be the Fed's policy meeting with its decision on interest rates. For the time being, the market is pricing in a rate hike by 50 basis points, which is not as aggressive as the 4 previous rate hikes by 75 basis points. Apart from the rate hike, investors will be alerted to Jerome Powell's press conference, which could change market sentiment. Today, the soft inflation data prompted a wave of euphoria on Wall Street. As for the currency market, the US dollar drifted lower ahead of the US CPI within the same trading range between 104.50 and 105.20. Once investors got to know red-hot CPI, the US dollar index plunged instantly by 1.08% to 103.90. So the US dollar is likely to trade in the intraday corridor between 102.90 and 103.90. On a Monday, traders are digesting the information that inflation expectations in the United States for 12 months ahead fell to 5.2% in November 2022. It's the lowest forecast since August 2021, following 5.9% in the survey in October. The US dollar index consolidated at around 105 points for the most part of the session, awaiting the US CPI. The index crashed instantly after the report. The market expected to find the proof of easing inflationary pressure, but nobody predicted such a notable slowdown. Hence, the US dollar index is trading to lows on a Tuesday. Powell's comments could prop up the US dollar tomorrow, but the risk on mood is setting the tone today. The Canadian dollar finds support from a 3% oil rally and is taking advantage of the soft greenback. The USD CAD pay is consolidating at about 1.3599. The loonie is enjoying its luster in the intraday corridor between 1.3450 and 1.3540. Besides, a speech by Tiff McClam on a Monday gave fresh impetus to the Canadian dollar. Aggressive rate hikes by the Bank of Canada have already put a strain on the domestic economy. The Bank of Canada's governor said the regulator has to strike a balance between its efforts against inflation and recession risks. The Bank of Canada has increased the interest rates by 400 basis points in 9 months to 4.25%, the level last seen in January 2008. The goal is to tame soaring inflation, which surged to 6.9% on year in October. The current rate is 3 times as high as the official target level, and today benchmark oil grades have added 0.7% and 0.8%. Sentiment in the crypto market depends on the two prices of news. Investors cheered the news on the detention of a Sam Bankman-Fried in the Bahamas. The notorious FTX CEO was arrested by the order of the US Attorney General in his Porsche real estate. On the flip side, investors are fretting about the news on Binance, which suspended withdrawal of stablecoins while the largest crypto exchange carries out a token swap. The move comes as investor concerns grow about Binance's stability following the collapse of rival exchange FTX. Besides, the media reported that Binance is facing criminal charges. Before the US CPI, crypto investors neglected worrisome news. Bitcoin rose 1.7% intraday and approached $17,500. Altcoins traded mixed. Following the inflation data, the crypto market perked up amid the global appetite for risk. Bitcoin escaped from a trading range and reached $18,000. If the token surpassed $18,200, the door will be open towards $18,600. Otherwise, the flagship crypto might consolidate at around $17,600. InstaForex analysts warn you about a highly volatile session on Wall Street. Good luck.